Yo, Beth, that shit crazy.
So I got the homies here. Definitely want to talk about the biggest issue in our society right now, and that's the horrific death of Tyre Nichols, right? If anybody hasn't seen that video, if you want to watch it, do so, but understand that what you're going to watch is not pretty. You're going to see a deliberate attack from people that are supposed to be, quote unquote, your protector. The conversation that I want to have with y'all is, how do we feel safe if the people that are put in place to keep the peace are the ones that are doing you harm? There's a difference between something happened accidentally, right, and a deliberate attack. What I saw from those police officers is something that you can tell that they've done it before. That's the scariest part about it, is that when they were attacking him, they were screaming out things that weren't happening. So that when the body cam plays back, or when they're trying to cover their tracks, which means that you've done this before. So for me, it's like, we have these conversations every year about police brutality and how we're supposed to teach our kids and how we're supposed to protect ourselves. But how? How do we do that? How? A routine traffic stop at this point feels like the end of your life.
Could be.
So how do we approach that? Who wants it?
Somebody was talking the other day about a routine traffic stop, and what happened was the kid didn't want to stop because he didn't feel safe, and they wound up running him off the road, and he was yelling out the window, "Hey, my son's in the back."
Right.
He called 911. My son's in the back.
Dispatcher told them as well. Yep.
Dispatcher told the officers his son is in the back of the car, let off, and they wound up running him into the road.
Yep. They clipped him, flipped the car, killed the kid.
Routine pit maneuver, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it shouldn't be like that.
His son passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He lost his son
Crazy.
to something that was so routine, apparently.
Right.
Like,
And the cops said they didn't know that
they didn't know.
They had no clue that there was a kid in the car.
So it's like, now you're telling me you don't know, but you're saying you don't know. Like, it's like my word against your word. Unless I have, hard proof. Good thing that he had the hard proof, but that proves nothing because now his son is gone.
Son's gone. Don't even
A life
matter.
is gone.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no price on any life. And this kid is gone, and police are yelling things into the microphone trying to cover themselves. It's like, what are we doing? You got the film. The officers are fired. But still, who's to say what's going to happen the next time?
And this is the part that I've always thought about cops, about how malicious they are, or they can be, when you run or you make a decision where you're scared for your life and you have to make them do extra, right? You always hear in the movies, "Oh, don't make me have to run after you," right? That's personal to them. And just what they did to Tyree is that can happen to anybody, is that they took this kid's fear and flipped it and used it as aggression for them. You made me run, so now I gotta hurt you. I'm speechless, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I don't even know how to go about this shit anymore.
But like, I mean, you yourself, and I know you a while. Like you grew up in that stop and frisk era. You know what I mean? Like
That's a part of it. Yeah.
you grew up in, and it doesn't get labeled as traumatizing to some if you quote unquote have nothing to hide or you're not doing anything wrong. But the whole situation was completely traumatizing. To where you see an unmarked car or you see a police car and you get pulled over and you don't know if you're going to make it out of that situation or not. And all you're trying to do is either go home or reach your destination or drop a friend off.
Or finish your basketball game.
Whatever it is. And you don't have the say to actually protect yourself in any situation because of what they're quote unquote looking for or what they say they're looking for or whatever narrative or whatever description you might feel. And as kids growing up, how many times have we sat in, I don't know about you guys, but like there's times we sat in the bookings for a whole weekend because, yo, you fit a description. Your car was a description of some robbery, something like, what are you talking about? I wasn't the driver. Don't matter, man. I don't care. You'll talk to the judge about that. And you lost a whole weekend of your life in fighting for your life in jail for no reason. So it's something that's been happening. Is it ever gonna fix? Unfortunately, who knows? And that's the sad part. To leave that in the hands of the young youth and people that are actually trying to do the right thing in life, to not have that sincerity that something actually positive can come from this, and that's just a wish, it's just a heartbreaking thing to say because this situation keeps happening no matter what and who's involved. But the same individuals are normally involved. And normally they have the rite of passage when it comes down to making these decisions about our lives, and which is, like you said before, the lives that they're quote unquote protecting.
Wait, another thing, it's sort of like I didn't notice it until earlier this week, to where I have PTSD.
Yeah.
And it's weird to say that because I never thought I had it. But when I'm just driving home, I could be doing absolutely nothing, and I'm just driving home. But if I see an unmarked vehicle behind me, I'm like, shit.
Yep, I say that too.
Like what is going on?
You thinking that you did something wrong,
Right. Yeah. Meanwhile, I did absolutely nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, so make sure, like, even though I don't have anything on me, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm just mentally like, okay, I gotta make sure I'm all right. Like, I don't have nothing on me, I didn't do anything. Even though I know I'm good.
Right.
You know?
You gotta second guess yourself.
Right. And like just that alone is absolutely insane.
Yeah. And that PTSD comes from our upbringing. I'm telling you, like all the stuff that we've seen, all of the stories that we've heard, all of the stuff that we've experienced. Like, I've had 3 police officers in my life pull guns on me. I never had nothing. But I've had literal barrel to my face.
No, I listen. I got friends and family members in law enforcement, so the topic for me is a little tough.
Yeah,
but I
love that. I love your angle from it because you gotta be able to.
I gotta balance both because at the end of the day, listen. My personal view, listen, by the cameras, everyone can tell I'm a black man, okay? And I can't take my skin color off, and I don't want to take my skin color off. I can't. I'm not an officer who could take their badge off when they get home at the end of the night, and lucky enough, they get home at the end of the night, to be honest, right? But my whole feeling is there's no way to fix it for the time being. I don't know if in our lifetimes if it's ever going to be fixed, but we did get PTSD of how our upbringings are because we were always taught we was taught to fear and at the same time respect the police. But like earlier I said in previous conversation, there's a healthy fear, but that's not a healthy fear to have. where you feel as a black person when you're driving and you pass a police officer, or you see an unmarked car behind you, you get an uneasy feeling. That shouldn't happen, right? And knock on wood, and I never got pulled over, or I got pulled over for speeding, and I got a ticket, but never got pulled over where a gun, or never been in a situation where I felt so unsafe, where I got handcuffs and I got a gun pulled on me. And knock on wood, hopefully that never happens to you guys ever again. If it happened to you, unfortunately. My whole thing is that those officers, for some odd reason, and hopefully we find out why they beat a man to death. And I saw the videos. It's heartbreaking to be that malicious, to be that intentful to like hurt someone for making you, like you said, run
100 feet away from his house.
At the end of the day, and I don't want to. And I know people could say, hey, why is he running for it? He had nothing to hide. I understand the psyche of what's going on in the situation. You are fearful, and sometimes fear could drive you to do things that are unconventional.
Yep.
And the thing about it is the onus on us to get rid of the unhealthy fear and not be afraid to walk past an officer, be behind, or be in front of a car while we're driving. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's just it speaks to the fact, it speaks to us, if how are we going to protect ourselves, like you said, or do we need to protect ourselves? I don't know. Do we have to have a healthy fear? Do they need to have a healthy fear, or not a fear of us? Because we have heard the narrative, hey, they fear for their lives. I don't know if they honestly do fear for their lives. But if they do, if it's true, how can they reverse their fear?
Right.
And how we reverse our fear? I don't know.
And how do we balance which fear means more?
Right.
Yeah.
True. It's double fear. It's if it's a fear environment, it's a fear environment. I'm sorry. If it's a fear environment, it's a fear environment. Nobody's fearing, but someone has the upper hand in a situation.
Exactly.
And the person that has the upper hand is usually the person that has the de-escalation training.
Right.
Or at least should.
Or should.
Should, yeah.
So, and then it also falls if there's a partner. Like I get it. Like I said, there's a code. There's a code. Like if we're out on the street, there's a code of
protect the shield.
If something happened to one of us is gonna say something or back up the person, right? And the same thing with the protecting the shield, right? The whole cop. But are we now less ignorant enough to say, okay, you know what? Me protecting the other person may not be, I'm going to just go along with what's the other person or the narrative or what's going on in the situation. It may be I'll protect my partner and the person we detain, and by de-escalating. So it's accountability, and it's and the thing about getting away and eliminating fear on both ends of the spectrum. Is that the solution? I don't know.
It's tough, man.
Well, there's a lot of different issues, because now, let's say I grew up in Jamaica, Queens. You can't have someone come from Suffolk County who has never experienced what I experienced
and put them in
come
Jamaica,
and
Queens.
police my neighborhood.
Right. You need somebody who's from the neighborhood.
Ultimately, you're going to come in
with
fear.
Absolutely.
Now, peep game. What you just said, right? Yo, let's say, give me a name. Anybody, you pick a name. Josh, right? Josh grew up on 128th and Sufton, right? I don't even know if that block catches, probably does. Probably, it should do, actually. Mm-hmm. He grew up on 128 in Sufton. Josh just went to the academy. They put him in 128 in Sufton, right? His community is gonna have a play on him, He's going to know how to interact with his community way better. He's going to understand, yo, look, I know who's on this block doing whatever, and I know who's on this block doing whatever. I'm not biased in any form or fashion. At the end of the day, I got to stand by this code at the end of the day. But I know how to talk to him because you know what? He watched me grow up. So, yo, look, OG, I don't want any problems, but I'm doing my job here. Salute.
And there's a respect factor.
Now you give me Bill from Ronkonkoma, respectfully, that, yo, he's going to look into this situation of, well, he don't know who's who. He don't know the players. He doesn't know the winners. He doesn't know.
So
the
everybody's a threat.
Right.
Everybody's a threat. I'm at risk. It's a different dynamic, and it's kind of even with the school system. And the school system goes in the same route where the teachers are coming from these places that don't live in the neighborhood, that are teaching the kids that they don't relate to. You know what I mean? And they don't. You can't teach somebody that doesn't live to how you raise your kids. They live a different type of way, but they spend 8 hours a day with you in order to potentially learn from you and hope that you're going to distill something in them that they're not getting at home and potentially advance them to the next part of their career or their academic career at life and give them moral upbringing at the same time.
You know, that's 100% correct. Demographic plays a role in everything.
Yeah.
Because, like, let's say even therapy. Like, you can't have me go sit down with a therapist who knows nothing about my upbringing, where I come from, and why I may possibly be the way I am.
Yeah.
Demographic plays a role in every single thing.
No, I agree.
Not everything is textbook, which that's what I get from your point. Not everything is textbook. Where if I live in Forest Hills, I'm going to Far Rockaway. You know, I may look like the person that lives in Far Rockaway,
Right.
but I may not understand the
Yeah,
dynamics of the neighborhood.
anecdotally, I've never had that type of experience. Like, my experience is completely different than what those experiences are for Rockaway.
Exactly. So you're not gonna. So unfortunately, you're not gonna find people who live in bad neighborhoods, want to stay in bad neighborhoods and police those bad neighborhoods. Majority of people won't do that. Right. There's few that will do that. But my thing is, once you are put in that neighborhood,
Learn it.
and then if you take your time to understand the community, maybe that could be the first step.
Absolutely. Building that trust.
So if you know, hey, John Doe may be a little fishy, but John Doe doesn't break any laws. He just may look fishy.
Right.
Hey, John Doe, ACP here. How you doing? All right, cool. You see John Doe then gonna build a rapport with you.
Yeah.
And
the first time y'all speak, and the
and
second
then
time,
just-
and the third time.
and the third time and the fourth time. But it just can we say that's healthy? Where again, it speaks to that fear, like where people would then say, you know what, I heard all my life cops are bad, cops are this, cops are that. And it comes to like if we had a dull test, right? And we said, okay, fireman and the cop, and I know it's kind of apples to oranges, but I'm talking about first responders. Who do you trust more? Maybe gonna probably say a fireman versus a cop, versus that shouldn't be the case.
Right.
And I think if we eliminate that, but they eliminate again, it may be the first step as I'm thinking about it. Hey, try to get to know try to get KYC, know your client, but know your environment, know your clientele, know your customers, know the people you're protecting.
I also believe that. Go ahead, you go ahead.
The only thing that like I get that and that makes sense, but like the issue that we're seeing more now than ever is people getting stopped at routine traffic stops.
Right.
I don't know if that cop patrols that neighborhood. I don't know if that cop just happens to be in that neighborhood.
Right.
We've all been in scenarios where you're driving your car and there's a cop that's behind you that may be in the right lane next to you, who happens to be going much slower than you for no apparent reason. You may be making a left and they're still in the right lane waiting for you. The light is green. You know they're running your plate. Just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Possibly. Mm-hmm. Right? So, growing up, and the same thing that, Claude was saying, growing up in stop and frisk, right? Like, I get it. So now that I get pulled over now as an older adult, right? Like I'm already super over dramatic, right? Like roll my windows down, keys on for the car,
Hands on the wheel.
hands on the wheel,
Hands on,
Turn your light
on the
on.
dashboard.
Make sure
But
your
I'm not
hands
doing
are
anything.
visible.
I'm not doing anything
You
without
gotta make them feel
telling me to
safe.
do it first, right? Like, because that's what makes me feel safe, right? And as a father of a 19-year-old who you teach to think that he could be anything, he could do anything, and that he's an equal member of society. Automatically now he has a voice that he now feels that if you get pulled over, he's like, why are you pulling us over? And that makes me worry about him.
Nervous, yeah.
Because I'm like, what, at the end of the day, if you're not doing anything, you should feel entitled to
Say
say
whatever.
what you want.
Right.
As long
Right.
as it's respectful.
As long as it's respectful, right? 100%. As long as you're being respectful, you should have the right to speak respectfully to an officer about your feelings if you're not in the wrong.
And I agree with that. Like the one time I got pulled over,
But what can you do?
I pulled over, turn off the Jersey Turnpike, pulled over, turn off the car, had the lights on. It was like 50 degrees outside, a little windy, but had the windows rolled down. Officer could, before, how you doing? Good. May I ask why you pulling me over? Told me, gave him my license and registration. So I'll be right back. Sit tight. And I said before he leaves, I'm gonna turn the car back on so I can roll my window up. Cool. Are you okay with that?
Right.
Did that so he wouldn't think I'm fleeing because my car was push to start.
Right.
Put it up, automatically turn it off, and still held my hands until he came back.
But see,
I get it,
That
but-
level of needing to over insure,
Right.
someone
should not
else's
exist.
It shouldn't even have to
comfortability
be
Yeah,
that
but
way.
it-
went against your own comfortability to the point that you are uncomfortable.
Right.
I've had
And a lot of people, and here's the thing too, your uncomfortable, your uncomfortability can lead to irrational decisions because not everybody is going to be like
Cool and collected.
cool, calm, and collected in that
exactly.
situation. They're gonna sweat. They're gonna do this, and then if a cop is jumpy, they're gonna now look at you sweating as something's wrong with you.
even
right?
prior to getting
What
pulled
you hiding?
over.
What
even
you're
prior
hiding.
to getting pulled over, when
Yeah.
the car's behind you, it happens to me all the time. If I'm completely unindoctrinated or any type of sobriety or anything, I'm not even. Maybe I'm tired. I'm still gonna go. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Somebody's behind me, and I'm jerking the wheel. You notice when somebody sees you jerk the wheel. 'Cause I know you're behind me. I'm like, oh, why you keep looking in the rear view?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't
You
express.
watching
to you.
your speed, you
Yeah,
watching
exactly.
your
Everything,
rear
I'm
view,
watching
you
this,
doing
watching that. I'm
everything.
like, okay, open the windows. Windows are already open. That right there is not a normal way of
Yeah.
going home,
But you know what?
regardless of anything.
You gotta also be fair. You gotta be fair in the situation. You got good cops, you got bad cops, you got
do.
good people, you got bad people.
This is
One
what it
bad
boils
apple's
down
gonna
to.
ruin the bunch.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And I
This is
believe
what
it's
it
more
boils
Jordan
down
than
to.
us.
And also
I do
too,
believe
it's
that.
just like anything else, right? In regards to social media, in regards to everything, the 1% or the low percentage of bad things that happen gets so magnified that it becomes the majority, right? When it really isn't. So I'm sure there's more good cops out there than bad, but what's happening is that everybody has a camera now. Everything is highlighted. There's so much mass media out there that it seems like the instances that are happening are magnified, and it makes it feel like it's happening every second. I'm not saying that it ain't, right? But I'm sure there's more good cops out there than bad, but there's a lot of I can't say what I want to say because that's going to ostracize me to my unit as being not a part of the unit.
And I'm not playing ball.
And I'm not playing ball. There's a lot of cops that have done the right thing and gone to their superiors, and they've been fired for it. They've been ostracized. They've lost their pension for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that have happened, fellas. That was it's a great conversation. Obviously, we can be able to speak about this for hours, right? This is one of those topics that there's not it's not an easy fix. Like, this is something that's going to plague us for the present. Hopefully it doesn't plague our kids, going forward. And, I just pray for all the families. I pray for Tyre Nichols' family. I also pray for the families of those cops, because, their lives are about to change as well, and they don't deserve what happened to them either. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of lives are affected, and at some point, man, like, we gotta find a way to find some common ground. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, good conversation, and I think going forward we'll have some more. We'll have some more good conversation. Like, there's sports. There's a lot of great things about sports, but there's a lot of things that are bigger than sports too. So.